Hi, my name is Rosemarie Fettig, and today I'm going to be talking about my poster describing the workflow and methods used in the processing of the Bernard Seaman cartoon collection. The collection is comprised of over 4,600 original drawings, prints, and sketches by Bernard Seaman, a cartoonist whose work appeared in dozens of labor union newspapers from the 1930s through the 1980s. This covers the lead up to World War II all the way through the Reagan administration, and so this collection reflects almost every major socio-political event of the 20th century as viewed through the lens of the labor movement. The collection came to UMD via the George Meany Memorial Archives transfer in 2013, and initial processing was performed by my predecessor Allison Reel in 2019. We used a similar collection, the AFL-CIO News Collection, as a blueprint for the processing plan and finding aid. My goals in this project were to include as much information in the finding aid as possible, to make the collection easier for researchers to navigate and to make it more browsable so that researchers wouldn't have to pull so much of the collection to the reading room when they wanted to view it. Additionally, I sought to make a more efficient use of storage space and achieve both of these goals within constraints of time, labor, and resources. Because of the content and scale of the collection, separate intellectual and physical arrangements were deemed necessary. For the intellectual arrangement, we followed a primarily chronological order. About 1/3 of the collection already had dates associated with the items, so this was a good starting point for us. And we built on the information at hand with historical research. First, I identified related materials based on the titles and textual content of the items, and then researched historical figures, events, and pieces of legislation mentioned in the cartoons to estimate circa dates for the remainder of the collection. And through this process, I was able to assign dates to almost 60% of the collection. Any undated materials were listed in alphabetical order at the end of the chronological list to provide some structure to this part of the collection. The physical arrangement is based primarily on item size, and we accomplished this through a phased rearrangement process. First, I reassociated the related items that had been identified during the intellectual arrangement process. Second, I undertook refoldering when necessary to make sure objects were housed in folders of the appropriate sizes. And lastly, I removed non-oversized material from oversized boxes, which allowed us to reduce the number of oversized boxes from 13 down to 5. The item-level inventory, which contains the title, date, and transcription of all textual content for each item, forms the basis of the finding aid. Because of the size of this data set, manual entry was not an option, and so we used the Load via Spreadsheet tool in ArchiveSpace to transform the inventory into a fully fledged finding aid. This required a lot of tinkering with the import template to smooth out issues with Excel number formatting, but using the inventory as the basis of the finding aid means that the collection is effectively full text searchable now. Some challenges that I faced during this project were that it was effectively a now or never situation. Any further processing on this collection is unlikely, so I wanted to make the most of the time that I had with it. Also, I did not initially plan to do as much physical rearranging as I did. The discovery of non-oversized material in oversized boxes was unexpected, but ended up being a boon because it allowed us to reduce the amount of storage space needed for the collection by a significant amount. Our primary struggle was with Excel. We were doing a lot more data manipulation than is usually necessary for collections that we process, and so I had to develop a number of custom formulas in order to manage Excel number formatting. In terms of lessons learned and future goals, we're really looking forward to implementing the spreadsheet ingest for ArchiveSpace more in the future. It has a high potential to speed up processing of large collections, meaning that we can make them available to researchers faster and make more information available online as well.